Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the BoricuaBc2 show. I am your host, Bill Cancel. Happy WTF Wednesday, April 16th. And that's what I'm officially calling Wednesdays now, WTF Wednesdays, because Lord knows how many times today we're going to say WTF. I'm sure it's going to be quite a few. A couple things to talk about this morning. First of all, top stories that I'm following. California now jumping into the legal mix against Trump, suing Trump for sweeping tariffs. Sweeping tariffs. Sorry, can't talk this morning. Interesting. California Gavin Newsom announced a lawsuit against the Trump administration challenging the imposition of broad tariffs. Another lawsuit for Mr. Trump. Trump also announced a self-deportation program. Interesting. He wants to give people the initiative. He wants to get people to have the initiative just to self-deport. They'll get a stipend and a plane ticket, and is already suggesting that he's trying to focus on the bad people to leave, but also says in this statement that those who are part of the agricultural and stuff could apply for reentry once they leave the country. How does that make any sense? You're going to pay people to leave the country, and then you're going to allow them to come back into the country instead of just dealing with them while they're in the country. Okay, see where that goes. Federal judge criticizes the Trump administration over the wrongful deportation. This is the Kilmore Garcia case. The judge has now requested an expedited 2-week discovery process to go over exactly what they've been doing. I have a couple of thoughts about this. I think this is great. I think it's going to really put the administration on the spot if they can't comply. It's going to make their argument much more difficult to satisfy. I'm also a little bit disturbed because it sounds like this judge in this federal court is doing the work that SCOTUS should be doing by themselves. I read an article this morning saying that the way they're going to handle this with the 2-week discovery is really going to force SCOTUS's hand on this if it gets back up to the level of SCOTUS. And again, I find that incredibly disappointing because SCOTUS should be on top of this. They should not be waiting for a lower court to bring stuff up to them when it's as blatant as it is. The man basically said, we're not following the Supreme Court's order. That's it. SCOTUS needs to step in. They don't need to get from lower courts to rise up and do anything else about this. This totally just doesn't make any sense. But it'll be an interesting 2 weeks to see what happens with this discovery. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of lying going on, which we'll talk about later, and a lot of hocus pocus happening behind the scenes just to try to get this to be minimized. But it should be interesting. Trump is now ordering, next up, Trump is now ordering a probe into critical mineral imports. Obviously, critical minerals are becoming top of story right now because I think Trump is finally realizing that we don't have as many as we'd like to have, and we have a heavy reliance on other countries when it comes to critical minerals. This is just going to be targeted as to where they're coming from. And since China currently dominates this global market, it could result in more tariffs against China. Bad move. I mean, totally bad move. China owns Trump at this point in time when it comes to the tariffs. I don't see anyone saying or disagreeing with me on this. I mean, China's got the cards. China's always had the cards. And he wants to make the situation worse and thinks that China's going to go, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'll just give up now and, cave in. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. China's been around for 5,000 years. They're not going to give in on this. So interesting to see where this goes. And that's it for the stuff that I'll be watching for today. One little opinion piece I wanted to do this morning was the concept of who is lying. And this is something that I think about a lot. Both sides of the political aisle have their own set of problems and so on and so forth. And I don't think anybody could really argue that. But, the Dems, and as long as I've been a Democrat, I've always seen that they back up their words with factual evidence and truth. Now, going back to my Republican days, when George Jr. Bush Jr. was in office, this is what started my spiral out of the Republican Party because they just kept lying. And it wasn't just because I said they were lying. It's because they were consistently proven to be lying, right? Fast forward, now I'm a Democrat, and that hasn't changed. And this is what I find absolutely astounding is how people can still believe what the Republican Party is saying. It's not brainwashing. I don't think that the Democrats are brainwashing me, because you can't brainwash a person when you say, look, the sky is blue and it really is blue. That's not brainwashing. That's factual science, right? But the Republicans will say, no, 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 the sky is green, actually. The Democrats are telling you that it's blue. Okay, great. Show me the evidence of the screen. You don't need evidence from me. I'm telling you, that's good enough. We don't live in that kind of mentality, in that kind of society anymore. Now, if you look at people like Karen Levitt, she's just a paid liar. There's no two questions. And this administration is nothing but a paid lying administration. Now, how do we know that? Number one, virtually everything they say is debunked in matter of minutes, hours, days, weeks. Everything. They will come out and say XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. And I've seen cases where that has been debunked in minutes. I've also seen cases where it's been debunked in a week or 10 days, because it takes time for people to really dig in and look at the data to get into the devil of the details. But at the end of the day, it's still a lie. No matter how you slice it, no matter how you spin it, no matter how you try to correlate it, it's still a lie. And again, I go back to my earlier point. I don't understand how people are just constantly fooled by this. You know, I've been in IT for 40 years. My last 15 years was in cybersecurity. We're very binary people. We're very bits on, bits off kind of people. It's either real or it's not, right? And that's how I live myself in this social media landscape. If you want to give me a fact, give me a fact, but you best be damn sure you have to back up that fact. And if you can't back up that fact, then you're suspect, right? And now another example is the Kilmar Abrego Garcia situation. Carolyn Levitt has called this man everything under the sun: domestic terrorist, human drug trafficker, gang member, so on and so forth, all of which are easily provable things. Easily. If he has tattoos, there's pictures of the tattoos that are typically marked for gang relationships. That easily to discover. Haven't seen that. If he's a drug trafficker, a human trafficker, there should be evidence about that too, that should support that he's a human trafficker, right? If he's a convicted felon, super easy to prove. Show the convict papers. Where's the jury? Where's the documentation that a jury called him a convict and found him guilty? We don't have that. But what we do have is the President of the United States documentation calling him a convict. Huge problem. Huge problem. So my message to everybody today is keep up doing what you're doing. It's working. But really focus in on truth versus lies. Okay? If you see something that comes out in social media that just doesn't smell right, investigate it, fact check it, so on and so forth. Because if you don't, you shouldn't be commenting on it, because it's just dangerous. We have to be the party of truth. We have to be the party with substantiated facts on a daily basis, without question. The Republican Party is always going to be the party of liars. There's nothing we can do about that, okay? But the more we fight back to call out their lies, the weaker they get. And that's the important message for today. So everybody have a fantastic Wednesday. I do hope everybody has a good morning. I've got my coffee. I'm ready to go to start my day. I hope everybody survived tax day yesterday. Oof. What an issue that was. I had a little freak out in the morning because I thought I had to pay like a whole bunch of money for taxes. And then my accountant called me and she said, did you read it right? Because you're actually getting refunds. So made my day much brighter when I found that out. So it's a good day yesterday. So everybody take care. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.